I'm Jeanette Lane, a craft designer at CraftStash, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing the Scarlett Rose Crafts Easymat. So maybe you have seen this tool. It's a matting and layering tool. It's going to change how you mat and layer. So usually when you are making your card and building your mats and your layers, you layer cardstock on top of cardstock on top of cardstock, and you end up losing all that card that's underneath each layer. But with the Easymat, you can recover that cardstock so that you're not wasting all your beautiful paper that you're hoarding. I know we all have those favorite papers, or even glitter card or mirror card, which sometimes are on the pricier side, or maybe you just don't want to cut into your paper, you don't want to waste it. So with the Easymat tool, you are able to recover just the inside of your paper so that you're not wasting paper when you're doing matting and layering, which I think is a brilliant concept. So here's a close-up of that matte and layered card just to show you. Now with the Easymat, you're not going to lose that card, like I mentioned earlier, you're not going to lose that card that's in the center, because this tool allows you to get the most out of your prized paper. And besides creating mats and layers, you can also create apertures and windows. So let me show you how the Easymat works. The Easymat is a clear plastic board, and hopefully you can see it on camera. And it comes with pierced holes and measuring guides with half-inch increments along the top and also along the side, and these are etched onto the surface. And besides the Easymat, you're also going to need a foam mat, which is sold separately, and this is perfect to do your piercing. So this just goes on top, and then you'll also need a pokey tool, and then you can pierce your card, and your card goes here in the center. I'm going to show you that in just a bit. Now besides the Easymat, you are going to need the foam mat, a pokey tool, a craft knife, a ruler, and also a cutting surface. So you can either use a glass mat or a self-healing mat. I'm going to be using the X-Cut self-healing mat for this demonstration. All right, so here is the cardstock that I'm going to be working with. So I have 2 shades of blue, and this is A4 sized paper. And we're going to start off with this dark blue, and I'm going to trim this down to 6 by 6 inches. So what we're going to do is make sure your foam pad is in place. And then we're going to put our card on top of the foam mat, and then we have our Easymat tool. And I'm going to line this up on the 0-inch mark, so we have that there. And I want to make sure this is straight on the top. That is looking good. Okay, and then I'm going to take my pokey tool and pierce this at the 6-inch mark. So there, so we have this lined up here at the 6-inch mark. I'm going to pierce a hole, and then I'm going to go down here to the 6-inch mark there. So I'm going to remove the Easymat, and I'm going to move this over to my self-healing mat, and I'm going to take my craft knife and my steel ruler, and I'm going to cut with my craft knife from piercing to piercing. So here's our first 6 by 6 card, and let me just measure this, put the Easymat on top just so I can see, lined up there at the corner. Yep, that's 6 by 6. All right, so I'm going to set this aside, and then I'm going to grab my light blue cardstock, and this is going to be cut down to 5.5 by 5.5 inches. I'm going to put my Easymat on top, and I want to cut this to 5.5 by 5.5. So I've got it lined up there on the corner. I'm going to pierce this at 5.5. Here we have a 5.5 there, and I'm going to pierce right there, and then I'm going to move my cardstock over to my cutting mat, and we're going to again cut from piercing to piercing with our ruler and our craft knife. And you want to make sure that you're using a fresh blade when cutting. I feel like that makes a world of difference. So make sure you have a fresh blade or a very sharp blade, and you actually have to replace your blades more often than you think. Okay, so here are our 2 layers, and now I'm going to show you how we can recover the inside of these and use them for matting and layering. So I'm going to bring back my cardstock. So this is the 6 by 6 inch one. Now for this step, you don't need to line this up on the 0-inch mark. All we need is that each corner of the 6 by 6 card is lined up with a circle here. So we've got our 4 corners in a circle, and then what we're going to do, really easy, is just go from the corner, go diagonally to the next circle here, and we're going to pierce. So we're going to go to this corner, just go diagonally to that first circle there and pierce. Same thing from the corner diagonally to that first circle and pierce, and from this corner to that first circle and pierce. Okay, so this is gonna give us a 1/2 inch border all the way around, so we can use that layer for our card. And what you can do if you want a thicker mat, a thicker border, so then you would just go in, so same thing, you would line it up on these 4 corners, but instead of just going in 1 circle and piercing it, you would go in 2 diagonally. So it would be pierced there, and if you go all the way around, you would get a really thick mat. Right, so now we're gonna go back here with our craft knife on our self-healing mat and our ruler, and then cut from piercing to piercing. Okay, so there is our frame. I messed up just a little bit there, but blame my poor craftsmanship with my craft knife. So here's that piece that we've recovered, and what you can do is put that on top, and look at that. So you layer that, put a little bit of adhesive on the back, and you've saved that piece of cardstock for another card. So I want to keep trimming this down. So there's our mat and our layer. I want to keep trimming this down because I want to show you how you can make a wider mat. So we're going to line this up, and again, you don't have to line it up at the 0 inch mark. So we've got the 4 holes there on the corner, the 4 pierced circles, and what we're going to do is go in diagonally 2. So instead of going in just 1, we're going to go 1, 2. And this is from the corner. So 1, 2, 1, 2. This is really fun, by the way. 1, 2. Then we're going to go over to our cutting mat, and again, cut from piercing to piercing with our craft knife. So there's our 1 inch mat, so easy, and we can even put that there to create an additional layer. So look at all these potential mats and layers that I have just from that 6 inch piece of cardstock. That's unbelievable. You can save so much on paper with the Easymat tool. So now I'm going to take my 5.5 inch square, and I want to do one like that to get that wider mat. So what I'm going to do is just line this up at each corner, and we're going to go in 2. So 1, 2 from the corner, 1, 2 from the corner, 1, 2, 1, 2. Pierce that, set this aside. And then again, I'm going to cut from piercing to piercing with my craft knife. All right, so here are all of my mats and layers, potential mats and layers. So I want to take this last one, and I'm going to line this up on the corners again, and then I'm going to just do a 1/2 inch layer there. So what I'm going to do is pierce. So again, go from the corner. Sorry, got a little ahead of myself. So go from each corner, down 1 diagonally, from that corner to this one, this first one diagonally, and there we go, from that corner to this one. And then we get the 4 pierced holes, and we're going to cut those again, cut from piercing to piercing. Okay, so here are all my pieces, and you saw how easy it was to, and I only used those 2 pieces of cardstock, right? The 6 by 6 inch square, which is the original size, and then the 5.5 by 5.5 inch piece of cardstock. And look at all of the layers that I've got just from those 2 pieces of cardstock. So no more waste, that's amazing. And then you can just layer these up, so we can do a fun frame like that, and then add this one, and then finally top it with this. And you get some perfectly sized mats and layers. That's amazing. And then if I just flip this over, you can see the other side, and you can also layer it like that, layer your card up like that. Can you believe all these layers that you can get just from those 2 pieces of cardstock? That's amazing. And here's another matting and layering option that you can do with what we've cut out. So we've got this one, we can layer that one on top, and then, oh, we can do this one. We can put that one on there as well. And then top that off. And then you would just glue these together with either foam tape or double-sided or adhesive or liquid adhesive. But look how easy that is, and you don't waste that right there. You don't waste that layer. Look at how many layers. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. So you can see how many mats and layers you can create, and look at all the card you've saved. No piece goes unwasted. And this again is perfect for when you're using card like foil or glitter cardstock, which is on the pricier side, because you always do feel bad when you're matting and layering, just wasting that whole piece of glitter card. But now you don't have to. You can create so many mats and layers from just one piece of cardstock, and you won't have to cover it up and waste that excess with the Easymat. So we're really excited about this new tool. Now, besides creating mats and layers with your Easymat, you can also create diamond trails and designs with the Easymat. So we have those here. I don't know if you can see them. So we've got a little scalloped border here, a little diamond trail there, a heart, a oval, and a butterfly. So let me show you how those work. So you just put your card on top of your foam mat, and then you take your pokey tool, and then you just start piercing. So there are some of the designs that I pierced, and what I love about this is you can leave it as is to add some fun texture to your cards, but you can also add a bit of hand stitching with thread, like actual thread, and do some perfect stitching on your card, or you can pair it with Nuvo drops, or you can glue perfectly spaced gemstones or pearls. And you might have noticed this little aperture here, and there's a little piece that fits right in there, so you can get different apertures, and there are different diamond trail designs available on the CraftStash website, so make sure you check those out. And there's also paper pads as well. I hope that you enjoyed this demonstration for how to use the Scarlett Rose Crafts Easymat. I think it's a fantastic tool to have, especially if you want to create not only perfectly sized mats and layers, which is always a challenge for anybody, because you need to measure and make sure you're cutting right and whatnot, but it saves time. You can save time with the Easymat and also save on cardstock. As you saw, all the layers that we made just using those two pieces of cardstock. So the 6-inch cardstock, 6-inch square cardstock, sorry, and the 5.5-inch cardstock. And we've got so many layers to play with for our cards. Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure that you check out the full Scarlett Rose crafts collection on the CraftStash website. I will have that link for you in the video description, and I will see you very soon.